Hello and welcome back to the Unathletic. We are three very unathletic men sitting here in front of you, and today we're going to, before we move on to the
we have to address something first.
Like, this is not me, this is not my jersey,
it is your jersey. My will. If it was bought for you, you're wearing it, whose could it be?
I have to make it clear that I've been held against my will. If you guys have seen it or not, the quiz episode's out, and the link will be in the description below. But also, if you do check it out, I end up as the loser. Unfair though.
Unfair in what way?
Unfair in my opinion.
Why are you giving it away, bro? Let the viewers see.
He's wearing the jersey.
I'm wearing the losers.
Which jersey is it for?
I don't want to name it. Okay, now we're done with this. Now we can remove it.
I'll throw a few jabs here and there, bro, through the episode.
Okay, thanks.
No, but you have to keep it at least near you. You have to touch it at all times.
Unfortunately, I had to do that for the last 5 minutes, but yeah. So we can get back to things at hand now. And today we're going to talk about another white club, the best of them all, in my opinion. Also, I think among general consensus, it is the best club of the last century. To some extent, I think ever.
Yeah, probably.
We're going to be talking about Real Madrid, and since the inception of Real Madrid, actually, and I'm going to give the floor to you guys. I want you guys to talk about how the club was founded, when did we start, and how did we get here.
Yeah, I mean,
can we just talk a little bit about their badge and what it means at the start before anything else?
Sure.
Because I guess when this is just from as a United fan. And we are going for a certain player, and then we know that we see a news article that Real Madrid are interested in said player. You just know that we are not going to get that said player. Yeah. It's just done.
That is one of the... You know it's coming. You know it's inevitable, because if you have a good team that has been built with a solid base of youngsters who have raise the ceiling year on year, you know for a fact that they are looking at pastures beyond your own. Yeah. And especially Real Madrid, if they do come knocking, it's a different knock.
I don't think there's any player on earth who would not want to wear the Real Madrid shirt.
It's like Ferrari.
Yeah, it's that prestige kind of club, right? And that's pretty much what our episode is about, because we want to go back into the history and understand what it is about Madrid which makes them so dominant in the European stage. Of course, they're dominant in Spain also, but they share that with Barcelona. But they're head and shoulders above any other team in the Champions League. But yeah, coming to the origins of Real Madrid, they were formed all the way back in 1900 by a group of engineering students. Come here.
Yeah, what are you giving them this for?
So there are these few Spanish engineering students who studied in Cambridge and Oxford, and they were really fascinated by the local football culture which was there in England, and they wanted to bring that back to Spain. And when they were there, they formed this new club called La Sociedad, but also called Sky Football in English for some reason. Now, after that, they were led by a guy called Julian Palacios, who was the first captain of Real Madrid and the first president of Real Madrid officially. Now, there was a fight, and eventually he had to break off and form this new club, which at the time was called Madrid, but they changed the name to Madrid Football Club in 1901. And this captain, his father-in-law's plot next to the factory became the first home stadium for Real Madrid. Nice. It's genuinely as grassroots as it can get, right? In 1902, they decided that, they need to make this a little bit more official. So they got a board of directors in. They got the first 28 socios of the club, which is members, basically fans who become members, who become basically voting rights and shareholders of the club. And yeah, that was the story of Madrid. The way they got their iconic white jerseys also is something very interesting. So at that time, there was a club in England called Corinthians. Now, right now, if I say Corinthians, you might think that's the Brazilian club, right? Yes, it is. The Brazilian club Corinthians actually got inspiration from the same British club called Corinthians, as did Madrid, because these guys used to play football the right way. They used to be very
What does that mean?
it's like, you know how cricket is the gentleman's sport, right? They used to play football in general, so they would never try to foul someone when they didn't like by on purpose.
Tactical fouls.
Yeah, no tactical fouls. If they used to give a penalty away, the keeper wouldn't even save that penalty. They would be like, you deserve this, we did a foul, our bad, that kind of a thing. And if they got like a penalty by diving or by minimal contact, then they would also purposely miss their penalty.
A bunch of peas, in my opinion.
I mean, that's what you think, but it got that kind of prestige where even, you know, these kids were basically inspired by them to play in that white jersey because of how they used to portray themselves. But yeah, I mean, that was the very origin of Real Madrid. And of course, we have to go probably 50 years into the future when the Champions League was first formed. And that was when Madrid first started playing the Champions League. At that time, Madrid was taken over by the one and the only, the true legend of Real Madrid, Santiago Bernabéu. Now, Santiago Bernabéu was, I think, the 4th director of the club. At that point of time, this guy he literally built this club from scratch. Now, what I mean by that is, after the Spanish Civil War, obviously there was no football being played. He eventually went down and hunted down different players who were playing for Madrid before the war started, gave them contracts, different staff, he gave them contracts. He built the stadium. The stadium Santiago Bernabéu, named after him, was built by him.
Yep.
The training facilities was built by him. The La Formica, is it called? Their youth system was initiated by him.
Okay, before you continue on that route, though, but there's a lot of different opinions in this particular era when people talk about how Real Madrid were able to actively go build that stadium, build that training facility, get special privileges during that era. Because just to give you some back note here, before, as he mentioned, the Spanish Civil War, that ended around 1940s,
1941.
Yeah, so around that time. Before then, they were just known as Madrid FC. Then they were bestowed the name Real because the crown gave them a certain honor.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly specific.
Real in Spanish means royal.
Yeah.
So Royal Madrid. I mean, that's
so they got that
cool.
name. Then the Civil War occurred. They've lost that name. It's been taken away from them. And Franco, the dictator, comes back after in 1940s, 1950s.
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong.
1940s.
Yeah, so he comes back, and there's a lot of opinions about him being very biased towards Real Madrid because it sort of showcased his values in terms of centrality and communism, the way Real Madrid as a club carried themselves out.
Yeah.
So he sort of gave them special favors, is what many people talk about. We do not have the exact resources to go and back ourselves up for it. But in that particular time, that coincided with Santiago Bernabéu taking over as the head of the club and ensuring that the club was ready for the future in terms of being able to cope with the demands, increase the stadium capacities, a new stadium and the training facilities.
Yeah.
And also that's when the ideology of the Galacticos, the term that we called Galacticos, was initiated back then when he actively sought out players, the best players in their particular trade across the continent, and then tried to bring them to Real Madrid.
The thing about it, like, we'll speak a lot about like Bernabéu and like these names like Florentino Pérez, but you have to understand that the Spanish football culture is very different. Like, the main man at the clubs is the director of the club, the president of the club. In Germany, the main man of the club is normally the sporting director of the club. In England, the main man of the club is the manager. So it's a very different football culture. So if you're wondering why we're talking about this man a lot, it's because of this. And like you said, I mean, one of the many things he did was bring in the culture of Galacticos. And I'm just going to name a few of the players he brought in. Puskás, of course, there's an award named after him. Alfredo Di Stéfano, which is probably the greatest player who's ever played football before Pelé and Maradona came into the picture.
They have Madrid. He's been the greatest even to date. Even after all the superstars that they've gotten in, they still consider Di Stéfano.
He's still considered the number one, probably with Ronaldo.
You had a great story about the transfer windows during that particular.
We'll get to that, and it also ties into what you were saying about Franco. But just coming back to the point of what Santiago Bernabéu did, which was how modern football clubs are run today.
Absolutely,
He was a visionary in that aspect, where 70 years before, he was thinking of all these things. So Real Madrid were the first big club,
Yep.
the first branded club where outside of Spain or outside of England or outside of Germany, you don't know your clubs apart from the local clubs, right? But Real Madrid were the first ones to go to the Americas, go to the South Americas, go to Asia to do tours. They got a huge fan following in all of these countries. Stadium capacity is one thing, yes, they were backed by Franco the dictator, but it was also getting leveraged buyouts from the banks where they were able to fund these kind of, these kind of moves. And he had this vision that if you build a big stadium and you get the best players, the stadium is going to fill up because of the players, and the players are going to come because of the filled stadiums.
Yeah.
And what you say about the Galacticos at that time is very true, because in 1956, when they won their first European Championship, they actually went and signed the best player from the opposition team to play for them in 1958. And they were the first few people to do international scouting, like Puskás.
Yeah.
When Puskás signed for the club, he was 31 years old. He was from...
Was he?
Yeah.
Damn.
He was from Hungary. And at that point of time, Hungary were going through their own communal tensions. He was banned from FIFA for the last 18 months. He was overweight as hell. And they decided to sign him because he would sort of complement Di Stéfano. And Di Stéfano agreed to the transfer. And both of them have scored, I think, about 200 goals, some weird number like that. But once that's for sure, is that in the last win that they had in that 5 in a row.
From 56 to 61. They won 5 Champions Leagues. The first 5 Champions League ever. Real Madrid won all of them.
So they scored 7 goals in that 1960 final, 4 from Di Stéfano and 3 from Puskás.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. So they were going after players left, right and centre. I have a few names over here. I think it was Raymond Kopa. He faced them in the first finals.
Copa Trophy till this date is the best under-21 footballer in the world.
And when he joined Madrid and they won that 1958 Cup, he was the Ballon d'Or winner.
Oh.
They also signed Gento, who's this legendary player. He's a winger, and he's the only player to have 6 European titles to his name.
Wow.
No other player in history has done that.
Wow. Casemiro has 5. Or what? Ronaldo has how many? He has 1 from Madrid. No, but you're right. 6, I don't think
6, I don't think anyone has gotten.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
6 or 5? I think Ronaldo was 5.
Ronaldo has 5, I think. Yeah. Crazy, man. Yeah. But yeah,
could you go more in depth about the dominance during this particular period, because it was unseen and not heard of.
They were unbeatable at that time. They also started in terms of tactical football as what we see today. They were the first few teams to bring in pressing from the forwards. They were the first few teams to bring that Johan Cruyff total football kind of thing into the picture, and that was because of Di Stéfano, because he was traditionally a striker, but he used to drop in deep a lot of the times to try and facilitate the play. So
and same with the Puskás as well, because at that time the Hungarian national team was one of the best in the entire world, and they also played a very fluid style of football. So, and talking about the dominance, so the first 5 Champions Leagues ever were won by Madrid in a row.
Wow.
So they won 5 league titles in a row as well, from 61 to 65. And between 53-54 season to 68-69 season, they won 12 of the 16 La Ligas. So it was utter dominance, and they added another Champions League in 65. So we're at 1965 and they already won 6 Champions League trophies.
That's incredible though, because a new competition is set up, because before 1953 or 1952 that competition did not exist, and then the very first year these people managed to show their dominance, not just on a stage that is fit for their particular country, but like across the continent as well.
And it also set up a culture of how Real Madrid play football, because now we know, seeing that crazy Man City game that happened in 21-22, I think, like the comebacks that they've had. That has started from the very beginning. In 1956 also in the finals, they were down 2-0 and they came back to win 3-2. In 1958, the strongest side in that competition were AC Milan, and they've come back twice. 1-0 down 1-1, 2-1 down 2-2, and then they won in extra time. So that sort of culture has been inbred into that dressing room all the way from 70 years ago to what it is now.
I mean, what you're talking about, right? The culture which was set during this time, and why Bernabéu is considered the GOAT at Madrid is because of things like this. It's about Galacticos. It's about playing football, exciting football, about winning championships, about never settling. Dominance is the goal. It's not winning a trophy. It is dominating. And that is what we're seeing even to this day. Like, if you lose the La Liga 2 years in a row, you're out, right? We need to change. We need to build from the scratch. That's how Madrid operate, and it was all set because of the precedence and the prestige of these early years with Bernabéu. But I do want to hear that Di Stéfano story.
So yeah, this is what kicked off the whole Real Madrid legacy, right? Because Di Stéfano is considered one of the greatest players to ever play for them, and when they were looking to sign Di Stéfano, it was actually Barca who made the first move. And in the early 1950s, Di Stéfano was contractually obligated to River Plate in Argentina.
Yeah.
But at that time, he was playing for this club called Millonarios in Colombia. Now, the thing was that this particular club, because it was in Colombia and because it had the what's that dictator's name?
Some dictator, dude.
So, yeah, he's quite famous. I've not written it down. El Dorado. Yes, I have written it down.
El Dorado.
The city of gold.
It was the El Dorado rule in Colombia, and FIFA didn't recognize Colombia as an official country.
Right.
So now there were two things. One was that he was a River Plate player. He was contractually obligated to this Colombian club till the 1954s. So Barcelona went ahead to try and sign him, but they approached River Plate. Okay. They approached River Plate. The contractual agreement was done. Di Stéfano is actually trained with Barcelona because the contract is completed. Now, Real Madrid have realized that this guy is a once-in-a-generation player and they cannot afford Barcelona to sign him. So they've played a double game. They're like, wait, they've approached River Plate. Let's approach the club where he's physically at, which is in Colombia. And they've gone to that club and made their own contractual agreement with that club. Okay? And now there's obviously chaos and mayhem, and the press are going all over, and Spain is becoming basically a joke all around European football. And it's become a very bloated issue, so the Spanish Federation had to step in. Now, when the Spanish Federation stepped in, they went to FIFA to find out what is actually going on, because FIFA is not recognizing Colombia as a country. So FIFA, like today, is clueless. And they have given the statement saying, wait, both of you guys are right. So both of the clubs, Real Madrid and Barcelona, have a point here because they both have valid contracts. Now the Spanish Federation didn't know what to do. So they've come up with this once in a lifetime agreement, which I don't think we'll ever see again, especially in our lifetimes, which is, we'll compromise. So 1951 you play for Barcelona, 1952 you go to Real Madrid, 1953 you again come back to Barcelona, 1954 you again play for Real Madrid.
That was the amicable solution.
That was the amicable solution, saying that he plays for both the clubs.
Crazy.
And when all this was going on, there was a lot of political disharmony in Spain, as you said, with the Franco rule, and it still continues to this date, where Barcelona as a Catalonia region want to have their own separate country, basically. So they did not like this at all, because they thought it's it's an embarrassment. It's supporting Madrid in ways that it shouldn't. It's supporting the capital, and it hurt their egos. So they went ahead and also the players were not very happy with this Di Stéfano transfer, saying like, who is this guy? Why is so much importance given to him? And they went and said that we're not okay with this agreement. So what Madrid did was, they went to the Spanish Federation and said, we are okay with this agreement. So the Spanish Federation had no choice to give Stéfano exclusively to Real Madrid.
I love this dude. This is like such shady dealing.
And if I'm not wrong, it was in this period itself that I think it was the Copa semi-finals, if I'm not wrong, where Madrid have thrashed the shit out of Barcelona, by the way. In the first leg, Barca won 3-0. The second leg.
So,
it's still considered to be Barcelona's biggest mistake of not agreeing to this half and half rule at least, and letting Di Stéfano go, even though they're the first battle.
Like what Poe's talking about. No, this is actually the origin of the rivalry between Madrid and Barcelona. Because before this specific tie, there was no rivalry between them. They played
each other, but
it's a normal game. It's a normal game, okay. in that 3-0 game, at the first leg, which was at Barcelona's stadium, whenever the Real Madrid players touched the ball, all the Barca fans were whistling and jeering at them. Okay, and the players didn't like it, and the Real Madrid fans didn't like it. So the next fixture, when
Barca fans are not allowed in the stadium.
Yeah, because of the rowdiness, they are banned from the away game. And from the hotel, all of the Real Madrid fans started pelting stones at the Barca players, started hurling God knows what kind of insult at the Barca players. We went onto the pitch and it continued. People came in there, they were continuously pelting, continuously shouting at them, continuously whistling whenever they got the ball. The Barca players could not handle that atmosphere.
They've completely lost interest in that game. They've become sad. They've become disappointed.
They lost 11-1. Barca's biggest defeat till date was Real Madrid.
11-1.
And that was the first time the rivalry ignited. And from that point on, whatever the rivalry you see today started from that particular fixture. A little bit before this time period we're talking about. But yeah, since you brought it up.
Yeah, I remember it being in and around this time period and the start of the rivalry, as you said. But we talk about the years of dominance here, but eventually they do hit a brick wall and they sort of go into a slumber for quite a number of years.
So, I mean, it happened, it coincided with the death of Santiago Bernabéu. I think he died in 1978. And from 78 till all the way till 1995, they were not really a great team. They had small spells of dominance in La Liga, but at the time, especially in the 80s, we've done an episode on 80s football, which may or may not be out when this is coming out, but it'll come out sometime. That era was dominated by England and by Italy. So Spanish clubs are not really strong at that point, right? And it led to this feeling within Madrid supporters that we've lost the feeling of the club. Because like I said, the culture and the values of the club was dominance. Dominance at the highest level. And winning a few La Ligas here and there was not good enough for them. So the fortunes changed in 95, but even before then, there was this 5 players called La Quinta del Buitre. Okay?
Wow.
The name means the vultures cohort in English.
That didn't sound as ruthless as
the Spanish.
Yeah, but when you're listening to it as a Spanish person, that would feel so cool, bro. Like, yes.
So it was their version of the class of 92 for United, where there were these 5 people who came from the Madrid academy and completely wowed everyone. They played incredible football. Emilio Butragueno, which is the Buitre, came from his name only. Basically, that is where it... The name came from, and he was the most charismatic player at that time. So under him, they had a domestic resurgence. They won 5 La Ligas in a row, and they also won 2 UEFA Cups, the Cup Winners' Cup, which they used to have, because they won the Copa del Rey also. But again, it was not really enough for the Spanish supporters, the Real Madrid supporters, because they were not winning the biggest prize of them all.
So this phase is quite interesting because Madrid between 1956 to 1960, the dominance that they had was fast, counter-attacking football, playing with wingers and all of that. But then when other footballing nations started developing, England especially with the long ball, and Italy were the dominant force in this, and it was this coach Alberto Sacchi who's come in with the idea of pressing. So that is where pressing is started. And when you introduce
You're about the Milan guy?
Yeah,
Arrigo
Sacchi. And they were not able to cope up with the modern demands of football. And then they just tapered off until, I think, Papa Perez? You could say is
almost Papa Perez. So,
a couple of years before.
Yeah, so in 1995, the new director of the club took over. His name was Carlos Sanz. This guy was...
Carlos Sainz?
Sanz. Close enough. This guy was a little bit crazy. Okay, this guy, he changed 7 different managers for Real Madrid in 3 years.
Oh, man.
Wow. Yeah. In 1996, when he had his first real transfer window, he decided to go back to the roots of Real Madrid, which is Galacticos. Okay, he signed Clarence Seedorf, Roberto Carlos, who were joined by Hierro, Raúl, and Redondo. And that was not it. He decided that this is not enough. I need to get the best manager in football at the time. who was Fabio Capello, who had just done incredible things following Sacchi in Milan, and he got in them as well, right? He stayed for just one season. They won the La Liga, but again, this Carlos Sanz guy was like, "This is not enough. I want the UCL. I want the UCL."
So Sanz is up for re-election the next year, no?
Yeah.
So, and he thinks it's enough because he's done it. Like, he's built this super...
No, this happened later.
This was the next year, 1997.
Okay.
1997.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's built a super team. He's won whatever he's won, and he thinks it's done. Like, he's the president again. But enter Papa Florentino Pérez here, and he comes with a promise, guys, saying...
No, Perez was in 2000.
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before that, under Sanz only, the next year they got Jupp Heynckes, okay. Jupp Heynckes won the UCL finally for Real Madrid after 32 years, but he finished 4th in La Liga. This Sanz guy is like, that's not enough. We can't finish 4th in La Liga. He sacks Jupp Heynckes. By the way, that Madrid team of 97 was incredible. Like the names I just mentioned, right? They go ahead and in 99, they get Vincent Del Bosque, who was their 6th manager in 2.5 years. This guy goes and he wins the Champions League in 2000. And that is considered till date one of the most incredible Real Madrid teams of all time. All the names I've mentioned, plus Iker Casillas.
Beckham.
Beckham. No. Beckham had come later.
I think Beckham and Casillas had come in the same window.
Casillas also, I feel, is the...
Is 2000. He won the 2000 this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Beckham's later. 2004, 2005, I think.
But yeah, I mean, this was just like...
I think that Casillas transfer window is actually one of the most craziest transfer windows that...
No, so that is the first, that comes to Papa Flo. So Papa Flo, after the Sanz guy got voted out,
No, but he's up for re-election here in 2001
2001, yeah.
So he thinks he's built such a good team.
He's won the Champions League.
Yeah, he's put Real Madrid back on the map. He's ended their years of drought. But Florentino enters here. He's supposed to be one of the wealthiest businessmen in Spain. He comes here promising the socios of Real Madrid, telling them that we're going to sign Luis Figo from Barcelona. In case we do not sign him, I'm going to pay for your entire season ticket for all the socios.
And he also says we're going to win the La Liga and we're going to win the Champions League.
And he wins, and he delivers on his promise of signing Luis Figo.
Which is again an incredible transfer story, guys.
It is.
Please go ahead if you know those details.
No, the details I don't know, but we'll come back to that episode. But there's a famous pighead incident, which I know football fans know.
I think that was the return leg or the game after he's moved to Real Madrid.
When
they go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
There's a legit pighead at the side near the corner flag.
Yeah. So let me just, when Papa Flo comes in, I'm going to call him Papa Flo for the rest of the episode, okay? Papa Flo comes in, not only does he deliver on his promise to get Barcelona's captain and the best player probably in the world at that point of time to Real Madrid, he casually decides to get in Zinedine Zidane, Beckham, Cannavaro, Ronaldo, Michael Owen, Sergio Ramos, and Robinho. All of these players have come in within 1 or 2 windows.
No, this is like an extended period,
Yeah.
3 to 4 year windows.
Yeah.
Year on year, this man's been signing one Galactico after another, especially the Beckham one. There is no need for Beckham in that squad at that point. You have Figo playing in that particular position. Beckham also occupies.
Yeah, Raul up front, dude.
They signed Kaká also during that time.
No,
that was 2008. But yeah, that was the year after he won the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
But in back to Beckham's thing, they sorely needed a defensive midfielder because at this point there was a multiple tier hierarchy or whatever you want to call it established in the squad naturally because Florentino had set a precedent where he was going to sign big names year on year. And there was also the influx of youth academy players who would be making the first team squad. And that established a middle ground. And all your Redondo and your Makelele ended up being in that particular zone. Makelele, who deserved to be held
top tier.
Yeah, he deserved to be up there with the rest of them, deserved the same pay, and then he felt that he was undervalued there. He moved to Chelsea.
Yeah.
And Madrid's midfield has
A
Luis Figo, Beckham next to each other to play, and you sorely need a defensive midfielder.
And that is
But-
considered one of the biggest mistakes of Papa Perez,
Yes.
because if Makelele had stayed with that team, we don't know what that team would have done.
And it showed on the pitch because from 2003 all the way up to 2006, Madrid not only didn't win the Champions League, they didn't win any trophy. They didn't win a trophy in his run, which led to Papa Flo actually resigning. He knew that he was not going to be elected again, and he resigned. And that's when a new guy came in, right? I'm not going to talk about that period. I'm going to skip ahead to when Papa Flo immediately came back. Like about 2 to 3 years later, he came back. Now, at this time, right? You'd think that he understood, like, basically he made mistakes. He went, like you said, he went for the big name signings and all that, right? So this time when he came in, he was going to have more of a balanced approach, where he would get like youth products.
So he signed Ronaldo, then he signed Bale, and then he signed Modric.
So the Kaká was the first year he's back.
He broke the transfer window for Kaká. Then in the same window, he broke the transfer record for Ronaldo. Then he went on to add people like Benzema, Xabi Alonso, Raul Albiol. He spent 250 million at that time.
That's considered like 700-800 million easily, right?
2008, you've spent 258 million. This year, for that for reference, Liverpool did 280 something, Arsenal did 270 something, and everyone's going bonkers about the price that the English clubs have spent. This man has done it in 2008.
You're signing a Champions League
don't
winning
go there.
winning
I was
Ronaldo,
talking
man.
about the comparison in terms of valuation.
No, it can't be that they signed Kaká and Ronaldo the same season, because
They did.
Then Kaká didn't win the Ballon d'Or. That's
He
the
won
previous
it with
season.
Milan.
Previous season.
Previous season,
won it
exactly,
with
exactly.
Milan.
So here's 2 years back.
2 years back,
So I'll tell you
Ronaldo
what-
had won the Ballon d'Or.
What he
At that
did is
time-
he got the 2 previous Ballon d'Or winners to Real Madrid the moment he came back.
He had 2 Ballon d'Or winners in that squad. He signed 2 Ballon d'Or winners.
And so again, like at this point of time, what do Madrid want? They want the UCL, right? That is their promised land, right? But before he came back, Real Madrid had 5 round of 16 exits in a row.
Yep.
When he came back the first year with all of these players, that first year they finished second in La Liga behind Barcelona, and they got knocked out in the round of 16 again. So again, at this point, Papa Flo's like, okay, I've got my Galacticos. Now what I need is
A Galactico
A manager.
Yeah, like he thought that how do I increase this one level above, right? Get the Galactico manager at that point of time, Jose Mourinho. He brings in Jose Mourinho, and that is the final piece of the puzzle. Now, I'm not saying that,
But I mean,
They didn't win.
It did, unfortunately for them, coincide in a time period where Pep's Barcelona were dominant to such an extent that people were calling that team the greatest team of all time.
yeah,
And-
but Real Madrid and Barcelona you cannot look at their history without the other one. Like if you're looking at what Real Madrid are doing at one point of time, it's a direct correlation of what Barcelona are doing at that point of time. When Barcelona were winning La Liga after La Liga and Pep Guardiola was considered the greatest manager of all time,
Do check out that episode, by the way.
Pep versus Jose, one of our best episodes, if I may say so myself. Amar is not there. I don't know if that's a coincidence.
I'd agree, but it was a great episode.
Yeah.
That was uncalled for, man.
Like when Poe says, go back to Mourinho and how he started. So when he was born.
But yeah, like so Madrid were trying to catch up to the greatest club side of all time, right? Like that is the previous manager who got sacked before Mourinho left because he knew he could not compete with Pep Guardiola. So he needed someone who beat Guardiola, which was Mourinho at Inter Milan at that point of time. And when he came in, they didn't win the Champions League immediately, of course. They didn't even win the La Liga that season. But they went toe-to-toe with Barcelona. And that gave them hope. The next season, they beat that Barcelona super team by scoring the highest points that La Liga has ever seen, the most goals that La Liga has ever seen, and winning by the biggest goal difference that La Liga has ever seen. So that was a very successful thing. At that point of time, they couldn't win the Champions League, but I still till date I have to give Mourinho credit for making that base of the standards which have to be set to go on and achieve that.
So this is where I want to come in, and we're talking a lot about stats and names and all of that, right? But when we always ask the question of why Real Madrid are such a superpower in Europe, I think this was a very important phase in their trajectory when they went on to win the La Decima and then 3 after that. I think this was a very important base. And the reason why I say that is because player power is such a big thing today in European football and global football, where you have these personalities in the dressing room who are sort of dictating how the game is going to be played, how we're going to react to the manager talking. As United fans, we've seen manager after manager come and go because players are not happy with the manager's systems, right?
Yeah.
But I feel that in Real Madrid, one particular person cannot have that much power, because in that dressing room, who are you walking into? Like when Gareth Bale was signed with another record-breaking transfer, that time they already had Xabi Alonso, they already had Ronaldo, they already had Benzema, they had all of these people in the team. Luka Modric coming in had all of these guys. Now when Kylian Mbappe comes into that dressing room, he already has Casemiro, he already has Luka Modric, he already has, I think, Karim Benzema, he has Vinicius, Toni Kroos. He has all these guys. So it's never going to be one player or one particular persona who's dictating how that club is going to run, which I feel has happened a lot with these big clubs, but not as big as Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But do you guys, I'll sidetrack here a bit, but do you guys honestly believe the Galacticos philosophy is a hit? According to me, it's a hit or miss, because we have seen the initial tenure of Papa.
Precedent, bro. It sets a precedent for having a winning mentality. When you're walking into a dressing room where there are 2 Ballon d'Or winners, you are automatically going to be tuned that no matter what happens, I am going to go and try to win this game for the team.
But the whole idea of collecting and assembling the Avengers, if you would like to say it like that, but it does not work to an extent, because the balance of the team is ruined.
When Avengers are assembled, they lost in Infinity War, but they win in Endgame, right? It sets the base.
So, like, I'm agreeing with Amar here, because their philosophy is that there is no excuse that we don't have enough talent on the pitch. There is no excuse that we don't have the most world-class players on the pitch. That is not the excuse. Beyond that, of course, the tactics might not work, the manager might not work, there might be a stronger team or whatever. But at all points of time, I, as a president, am going to make sure that this, on the pitch,
on paper,
this is one of the strongest teams in the world.
And
that is Real Madrid.
You can turn around to any one of those players and they're going to find a way to win the game for you. I think even when Toni Kroos signed, James Rodriguez was signed in the same season, which was the World Cup, just after the World Cup season.
I thought Kroos was before.
I think Kroos was signed before the World Cup started, and then after the World Cup concluded, it was James Rodriguez with those two wonder goals, right? So wherever you turn onto the pitch, you're going to see match winners. And Zinedine Zidane's managerial stint at Real Madrid, where he did win those 3 back-to-back, a lot of the goals and contributions came from people that were actually coming in as substitutions. Rotation was a big part of his managerial philosophy.
Asensio had a great season the first game.
Yeah.
The reason why I brought it up is because you see clubs have this identity, this philosophy based on their tactical...
No, but who are you comparing it to, Po? Because nobody else has done this.
No, I'm not talking about like Galacticos. I'm talking about the club as an identity and the way their philosophy is aligned to buying stars, already proven stars, and assembling them and putting them on the pitch regardless of...
But who are you comparing it to? Because in modern football, the only team that has done it is Real Madrid.
I'm not talking about assembling the...
He's talking about,
I'm talking about other clubs having their... The clubs are known for their tactical identities and the way they play and how they set out their teams. Real Madrid, on the other hand, were more likely known for how much they spent on people and assembled the team rather than actual football when it came to it. For example, Zinedine Zidane, when he was signed, there was no place for him on that team because that role did not exist in Madrid. The role that Zidane used to play for his previous club, it did not exist. And
the roaming playmaker.
Yeah, and the manager, it took him a good year to make Zidane gel with the team and then embed him into the system there.
So, for me, I look at it the opposite way. Okay, it's the tactical flexibility which The problem is not that I have these tactics. I need to find the right players to fit in it. The problem is inverse. I have the players. How do I make the tactics such that everyone shines? I feel like that is the football philosophy of Madrid, because you don't go from a Vincent Del Bosque to Jose Mourinho to Carlo Ancelotti to Zinedine Zidane to now Xabi Alonso. There's nothing like which
there's
not one aspect of their tactical
there's
systems.
no common thread though.
No common thread, right? What is the common thread? The common thread is I will have world-class players on
money.
I mean, of course.
And
yes.
like when you're signing these Galacticos that you say who are the best of the best in the world, you assume that they have the technical skills to adapt to anything that the manager asks them to adapt. That's what we saw with Ronaldo, right?
On paper, it is true, Amar, but many people, in terms of trophies, they will vouch that the Galacticos was a fail, like initially.
See, nobody.
The first time.
Which one? No.
The 2000s, the first one.
That's not the first time. That's my point.
No, you can't go back to the Stefano era.
You have to. Because that is where Madrid defined what they are.
The Florentino Pérez starting era.
Okay, it didn't work then. I completely agree with you. But, see,
even the second time, in terms of the success that they got on field, you can argue that they were not as good as the Barcelona team.
But see, okay. But I would say Barcelona are another standard, because we're talking about the best club team which we've all ever seen, right?
And that is also a completely different philosophy, because Barcelona are all for the youth, La Masia, we're going to get our youngsters through. Real Madrid have the complete opposite philosophy.
Exactly.
Which is why they're so contrasting in nature and such a fascinating rivalry. Now, when you say that the 2000 stint of Papa Perez didn't work out, I think it set the precedent of what is going to come next, which is even more important, that we are going to sign these star players and we are going to find a way. Maybe it didn't work out for the first 5 years. After that, it's just been utter dominance for the next 15 years.
You can't argue with the results. You can't argue the trophies. That's the thing.
In the 2010s, definitely you can't. I mean, we trailed off there because Mourinho, you were saying, set a precedent of how the team should be for that next decade, and they did wonders. They went on to win. I bet you're gonna.
And they've always signed the best player of that season. That has not been a trend. Like even with Keylor Navas, who had a great World Cup for Costa Rica, they immediately snapped him up. James Rodriguez, great World Cup for Colombia, snapped him up. Gareth Bale, snapped him up. Luka Modric, snapped him up. Jude Bellingham, snapped him up. Kylian Mbappe, snapped him up.
That's Galacticos 3.0.
Yeah. No, but like what you were saying, but when they said bye to Mourinho, right? It was like, we've done whatever you can. You've done whatever you can. We respect the hell out of what you've done. The first season which Mourinho came, they won the Copa del Rey, which stopped Barcelona winning the double treble.
The second time.
Second, and that itself, I think Madrid fans are like, thank you, you're gone. We can't live with the double treble.
But the next season, they did go on to win the treble, no? The Barcelona team. After Mourinho.
No. After Mourinho, no. Then when they got... So, again, like, the philosophy became that we have these stars, we need someone who can make all of them gel. And the guy who has the most proven track record of doing that is Carlo Ancelotti, and they go and they get him also.
Because he's a teddy bear, bro. He won't say anything. He's like, you go do your thing.
I mean, side note, but like apparently during that time when Ancelotti, I mean, not that the 2014 Ancelotti, but like the 2 years ago Ancelotti, before Alonso came in, players were allowed to go party in Ibiza whenever they wanted after games, and now they're like sort of pissed off that Xabi Alonso is not letting them do this.
Oh, Xabi Alonso apparently has a lot of rules that players are not liking.
And again, like, it's fascinating to think that
So Xabi Alonso excelled in the Mourinho era, right? Like under Mourinho, and Mourinho is like, he looks like a strict disciplinarian.
Like, okay, I want to get to Xabi Alonso at the end of the episode because that's the future of Madrid.
Okay.
But like right now, of course, when Ancelotti was there, Bale.
So it was Ancelotti that won them the Decima, right? Oh,
he won them the first Champions League after 12 years.
Which was the Decima?
2002 and then La Decima.
The La Decima, right?
And I think that also had a lot of weight because it was the first team that was going into double figures from single figures. So
I mean,
you're talking about La Decima, and
it was sort of I think just the term La Decima had a curse on it, like in terms of unwanted pressure being put on the team because you're going for a
even in that game, I think they went behind to Atletico Madrid until Sergio Ramos scored a 93rd minute corner header. That was in 4-1.
Bale scored
that was an extra time.
Bale scored the Atletico game, bro.
Yes,
that was an extra time. They won 4-1 at the end.
He scored that, and then he scored the Copa del Rey final also.
Yeah, in that season, by the way. This was right after he was signed, like 1 year. the following season after he was signed.
So I mean,
Mark
like,
Bartra run and the
Yeah,
Atletico.
so like see from
I've
this.
not seen a footballer destroyed as much as Mark Bartra, bro.
I mean, see, this is the thing about Madrid. Like the goals, man. Like the players,
The moments.
They
the
turn
moments. Like you can think, like right now, I can think of, if you guys remember that Guti pass, which he like one of the best assists I've ever seen in my life. When Real Madrid won the Champions League, when Zidane came in, that that volley where it's
What? Bale was a
looping up
bicycle
over there.
only.
Bale was a bicycle kick. I mean,
That was Liverpool, but yeah.
yeah. But like, okay, like I'm gonna skip now to the next Champions League run which they did, where there was a point where everyone was like, oh, no team can repeat the Champions League. Nottingham Forest did it long back and all that. Madrid came and three-peated that shit. Okay, they three-peated
And they did it very, very easily, bro. Like,
So I mean, out of the blue, they asked Zidane to come and manage this, an unproven Zidane who's only
no, but he
managed-
was at Real Castilla.
Yeah,
no? He was
the
basically
B-side
the
of Real
B-side.
Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar to Pep, but you'd call it unproven still because he's not played at the highest level, the pinnacle of football, and you give him the keys to Real Madrid, which is the most prestigious club in the world.
I mean, they must have seen something over there because even like we're talking about the players and all of that, but you talk about the back room as well and the kind of money that they've invested into their training ground. It's like 1,000 hectares of land which has the training pitch for all the youth teams together, including the first team, and then you have the state of the art for recovery, you have state of the art gyms, all of that, and that's where Zidane has started off, like training aside, and they must have definitely seen something in the last 2-3 years to give him the keys to Real Madrid.
And I think that if there's, we spoke about the whole Galacticos and making them gel and all of that, right? If there's one person who has the pedigree to, in a room of superstars, to tell them to listen to me, there's nobody other than Zinedine Zidane you can bring up.
I mean, it's a right though because
He had aura, bro.
he was the cornerstone in the first like Paris' first Galacticos version.
Yeah.
He was the key piece, centerpiece, no?
And he was also very flexible in terms of his tactics because you just didn't know what they were playing. Sometimes they were playing a 3-3-4, then they would switch where sometimes Ronaldo would come and play as a centre forward from a left wing. Rotation, as I said, was a big aspect into his game.
No, and that's why I think it worked, because Zinedine Zidane, being from Madrid, growing up in that, not growing up, but like being part of that entire system, truly understood what Madrid is. Which again, for me, is that you have these world-class players. I've given you these world-class players.
Use
I don't care how you win. You get me the Champions League. And I feel like Zidane truly understood that. He did, till now, the three of us, we watched Madrid play we watched every single game Madrid has played in the Champions League that time. We cannot zero in on what Zidane's system was. We cannot. Because
it was a mix
He
of
did
tactical
not have
identities.
a single
yeah.
tactical identity
Never.
that you can
The only
pinpoint.
thing that was constant in all of his teams was that midfield trio of Casemiro, Modric, and
let's
Kroos.
talk about that for a while.
Yeah, because I think that is probably the best midfield trio that we. Okay, Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets is a second close.
It's poetic though, because like you have this rivalry, Barcelona versus Real Madrid, and one team comes up with this super team.
What I
and they
can
have
say.
this
What I
super
can say is
midfield.
that Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets was just a little bit before Modric, Kroos and Casemiro, which is what I think inspired Zidane to play something like that.
No,
Because they're very similar in their profiles. I think if you see Modric, Iniesta together, Xavi and Kroos together, Casemiro and Busquets together.
I think Casemiro Busquets is different.
is a far shout. but
Casemiro Busquets is like you're the fancy guy.
Okay,
I'm the dirty guy.
He didn't have the passing ability as what Busquets did.
On
Casemiro.
the ball, he's nowhere close.
Yeah.
But off the
Busquets,
ball,
No, but
you
it's that
commend
role.
Busquets
It's
for
that-
his ability to sneak through players, his first touches leading away from.
That's all an attacking transition. I'm talking purely in terms of defensive transition. That defensive holding midfielder role that Casemiro had, where he's won multiple Champions League titles. He's considered one of the best defensive midfielders in our
Definitely,
era.
but they're two different molds of players. Actually.
so like the way I think of it is like when you have a midfield three which is truly balanced, you have solutions for any problem a team can pose in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Now Casemiro is Casemiro. No matter what happens, Madrid are going to be attacking, and when they lose the ball, Casemiro is there to sweep up the back, right? Kroos is someone who, when Madrid have to play counter-attacking football, this man links the defense and the attack like no one else.
No,
Through
it's
his
just
long
Cruz
passing.
is just control of tempo. Like I know what the game state is going to be. I know how to.
When that's the game, right? When that's the game, when Madrid are keeping possession, Cruz is that guy, right? And Modric is the guy who can unlock defenses. When Madrid are attacking the entire game and the people who have to defend, the opposition team have to defend, Modric is the guy who has to unlock defenses. So, as a midfield three, the balance is there to solve any equation, right? And I feel like Barcelona is also similar, the three we're talking about, where they had the balance to solve any equation. For Barcelona is different because they played only one way. They knew exactly that they will dominate the ball. They knew that Busquets is going to be the one who is going to build from the back. They knew that Xavi is going to be the one who dictates the tempo, and they knew Iniesta is going to be the X factor. So it's like a dichotomy. Like they're two, like I don't know, a yin and yang kind of a thing, right?
It's poetic though. Like I said,
No, it's the same. It's the same destination, but
Different paths.
Different paths that you take.
Yeah.
But also very similar because. Like what Akshat said about Modric breaking that defense, it was those late runs in the box, it was the shots from outside the box, it was just non-stop engine workhorse running from here to there, and Madrid found ways, I think, to win matches which was not there in the previous eras because now they started bringing pressing systems into their play. They also had a counter-attacking philosophy with Bale, Benzema, Ronaldo up front, but they also had a possession philosophy where Cruz would come in. If they're 1-0 up, Cruz is just taking the ball and he's deciding what he wants to do. Whether he wants to bring Ronaldo into the game or not, or whether he wants to play back to Ramos, play back to Marcelo, he's controlling the entire tempo. And that is a key factor in what Zidane did with that Madrid side. And I think Valverde was also part of that midfield, was he not?
No. Much later.
No, he was, yeah.
There was this one player who was just who was brilliant for Zidane while coming on. I think that was Asensio.
Isco.
Yeah.
So, like, now, I mean, after they won the three-peat, right, we go a little bit forward. This is post-COVID, like just post-COVID.
I mean, you just got to mention that Zidane and Ronaldo leave at the same time.
Yeah.
Also. Same
Yeah.
same season. And Madrid enter a sort
I
of
think that was like that was a
2 years
conversation both of them had where Ronaldo is like, "Are you going to stay?" and Zidane is like, "No," and Ronaldo is like, "Then I'm done."
Yeah, we're both bouncing at the same time, right? But yeah, like I want to talk about the 2022 season, okay? Because
I think that was the best Champions League.
I've made notes.
Seen, yeah.
I've made notes.
So
okay.
by this is the third iteration of Perez's Galacticos.
Correct.
He
Vinicius has come in, Rodrigo has come in,
and then he signed Jude Bellingham that season.
No, Bellingham was not there in this.
Bellingham is there in the 2020.
Already?
Yeah, he's there in the.
It's a 101 million transfer.
Yeah, Bellingham's there in the
he's
that year's
broken,
when
yeah.
We're old, bro. I thought it was like last season or something crazy. But okay, like this season, if you can like write a fan fiction of your club on how you want to win the Champions League, it is this, okay? Now I'm going to go through all the knockout phases. I'm going to start with the round of 16.
Comebacks.
All of them.
Maybe.
All of them.
I'll tell you, okay? Round of 16, these guys are playing Mbappe's team, PSG, okay?
PSG.
Now, in the home leg, Mbappe scores a 94th minute goal to win the game for PSG, 1-0 advantage, okay? The leg at Bernabéu, what happens? PSG take the lead. They go 1-0 up. They are 2-0 behind Real Madrid. Casual second half hat-trick from Karim Benzema. Okay.
Oh, I remember this game, yeah.
Next, they go to the quarterfinals. Who are they facing? Chelsea. Chelsea, you say. They must suck at this time. No. They're the Champions League. Like, they won the last year. They're the defending champions.
Contest.
Yeah.
At Stamford Bridge, what happened was one of the most shocking results. Chelsea thulped Madrid. They won 3-1 and honestly it could have been even more, right? Then, when they went to the Bernabéu, what happened? Karim Benzema equalized in the 80th minute and in the 96th minute goes on and wins the game for Real Madrid, right? We go to the semis. Now, in the semis, the first leg...
I think, just before you start, I think this is the greatest Champions League
I was
tie
just
I've
going to say
seen.
that.
Yeah.
It's the greatest Champions League match of all time. The first leg.
Yeah.
Oh no, the match. I'm even saying match.
I'm talking about the tie, bro. Like across 2 games, I don't think I've seen
Nothing
anything
can
better.
beat this, okay? Now, you have to realize at this point of time, in world football, everyone knows that the 2 best teams are Manchester City and Liverpool. There's a distance. There's a distance between like what anyone else can do, right? Now, at the Etihad, I'm not going to go into this game, but Manchester City beat Real Madrid 4-3. They go now to the second leg. In the second leg, Madrid looked like they could not even get a hold of the ball. They could not create a single chance in this game. They did not have a single shot on target. Manchester City get the ball, Mahrez scores, it's 5-3 on aggregate. Okay? Till this point, no shots on target. 86th minute, what happens? Jack Grealish gets the ball, he wriggles past a few players, he puts a low shot, Courtois absolutely fucks up. Ball is going in. Mendy comes in, goal line clearance. 30 seconds later, same thing. Jack Grealish gets the ball, wriggles past 2 players, puts a shot in. Courtois puts his leg out. The studs of his boots deflect the ball into a corner. It was going in. Literally the studs of his boots. At the 89th minute, Rodrigo, with the first shot on target for Real Madrid, gets the ball into the goal. They're 1 goal behind now. Time is running out. The 4th official puts up the board. There are 6 minutes of additional time. 90 seconds later, Rodrigo scores with a header. His first headed goal for Real Madrid. Real Madrid have had 2 shots on target. None before the 89th minute of football. And they equalize on aggregate.
Didn't he come on as a sub?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So
I think so. The sub scored.
This particular run in the Champions League goes a long way into why everyone talks about remontadas when as soon as Madrid are behind, especially in the Champions League, everyone just expects them to win. Especially like I know.
No, but that was a freak game, and like they had no right. They
had
no right to win that
City,
game.
City outclassed them.
Yeah.
Totally outclassed them.
But it was
and then of course extra time. Karim Benzema scores that penalty, takes Madrid through to the finals, and then we know they beat Liverpool.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, absolute shocker of a Champions League finals. Completely skinned.
And they went in to sign him also 2 years later.
Yeah, just to rub it in their faces.
And to put him on the bench.
So, I mean, this is the year after, like, and immediately after they signed Kylian Mbappe, no?
Yeah.
So that's why I want to
free.
Free, but they paid the agent like some god knows how much amount of money.
There's probably like 100 million transaction that has happened to either Kylian or his agent, bro. Like, definitely.
But like that's what I want to like ask you guys right now, because we are now at a stage where Madrid have again heavily invested into the best players in the world, and they've got Xabi Alonso as a coach. Now we know, I mean, if we've gone back in the history of Madrid, we know that they don't give managers time. You either win or you go out. There's no like backing the manager or the players and all that. No. We have spent insane amounts of money to get the best players in the world. You're either winning now or you're gone. What do you think the next 1 or 2 seasons for Madrid looks like?
Yeah. The thing is, this goes back to my question about tactical identity, because Xabi Alonso is sort of a person who will stick to his methodologies, his philosophy, regardless of what the game state is and how, even if they're losing, he will not change that. His emphasis on rules, like Amar said, is also something that Madrid are not used to. Madrid are a different club altogether in terms of how they rely on their players' star performances rather than their ability to adapt to one particular tactical news. So I don't think it's a right match. In my opinion, Xabi Alonso is not a right match for Real Madrid because, one, he's relatively inexperienced. He's won it with Leverkusen, but that was only like 2 years of management, and he's immediately taken the step up to Real Madrid. It is definitely a step up regardless of what anyone says.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And to pull off one particular ideology and philosophy with that Madrid team, especially with the superstars that they have, and getting them all behind him and to agree with everything that he says, it's going to be difficult, and I think he's going to lose the dressing room at some point.
But I think that Madrid have changed their philosophy in the recent years, where they're just not going for the star players. They're also investing heavily into the youth, and they want to give. Now it looks like they want to give a manager some time.
No, but the thing is, the youth investment is not into their own academy. It is
whatever
something
it is.
like they go
Whatever
out.
it is.
They go out.
However you want to.
They spend big bucks. Instead of spending big bucks on star players, they're spending big bucks on potential future players.
The point is that they're not getting the best player at the current moment to play for them.
Would you not say Trent is the best? I mean,
Trent, Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
Trent definitely not.
Bro.
Come on, I don't put him into that category. I
the
don't
right
put him
back
into that
position in
category.
world football, nobody else offers what Trent does.
Yeah.
He's a freak. He's a unicorn.
He's a unicorn. That's the right
But hear me out. They're changing their philosophy into trying to find the next big superstar rather than buying the next big superstar.
No, that is one side of it. That is one side of it. But they're still going and signing the star players. Year on year.
They are, but they're not signing 3, 4, 5 of them at once.
No, this year, like they went and signed, like they saw Houston come up, like a star centre backs coming up, who's Spanish also. They're like, okay, fine, we'll
coming
spend
up,
50
right?
million.
Coming up. It's
Correct,
it's not the guys who are already
like
established.
Small sums of money, Amar. It is good amounts of chunks of money that they're spending.
The money at this point is irrelevant. What I'm trying to say is that who is the best player currently in the world? Are they going and signing the 1, 2, 3 of them? No, they're not.
If you think Real Madrid aren't going to go after Saliba, Konate, these kind of people also, they definitely will. Like everyone knows it's going to happen. Like.
I think the difference over here is that financially the Premier League is so much stronger that they can't go and sign the best player in their prime. Right? So what are they doing? They're waiting for the contracts to run out and then sign them on a free. They're waiting, as Amar also said, I think it's a mix of both. They're trying to get the best players on free, but they're also securing their future. So they went heavy for Hulsen. They went heavy for Lenny Yoro the year before that. They went heavy for Endrick. They are, what's the other guy's name? Mastunato. Again, these are, Arda Güler, right? All of these players are who Madrid are backing for the future. So it's a mix of both.
And if you're going by that route, you obviously are going to have to give time to your managerial setup. But if he doesn't win anything, it's a different scenario.
But they are top of La Liga.
But Xabi Alonso also has to deal with personalities like Vinicius, Kylian, Jude Bellingham. These players are the best in the world in their particular roles. And they know also that they are superstars. They are leveraging that superstar tag to go for them also. Bellingham, every single aspect of him is tuned to get the best out of the public reaction.
Look, it's too early to think of
what thing he does.
It's too early to think of what Xabi Alonso can or cannot do at Real Madrid. He has an incredible track record before coming with what he did with that Bayern Leverkusen team. I think that is, in modern football, that was one of the most exciting teams to watch, what they did in the Champions League and in the Bundesliga. They are going to back him, they're going to give him time. Also because he is one of their boys, you know. He's been there. He's been there from the really, really shit Madrid days to when they've gone and reached La Decima, to when they've gone and won those multiple Champions Leagues.
I hope whatever you guys are saying is true, because I do not believe Papa Perez has anything to do with loyalties and ties.
No, he does.
I don't think so. So what I see is that
did Zidane win his first Champions League the first year that he came? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he won 3 and he left.
3 years in a row in his first 3 years of management.
Zidane's another level. Okay. But see, like what I think is that if Xabi Alonso loses a dressing room or he goes on a run of like 4-5 games where he doesn't win, right? I think it's over. I think it's that fragile. Like, it's extremely fragile for him. But at the same time, he could also make it work. It's a very interesting position, I feel. Because, like you said, his credentials of what he did at Leverkusen is incredible, right? But if the Madrid players don't buy into it, he's gone.
Look,
he's totally gone.
Let's just say that the hierarchy at Real Madrid are not stupid. When they signed Xabi Alonso, they knew that they're signing a systems manager. and a systems manager takes time for it to establish.
I mean, that is the general idea that
the reason
that they'd go for.
But look at the reason why they've signed a system manager, right? Look at the transfer policies that they're doing right now. They're getting in younger players. They're getting in the ones who are 18, 19 to fit into a particular system. It's not. It has to go both ways.
It does, Amar. But the thing is, also on the flip side, Real Madrid are a team that do not offer time and patience.
They're not.
Patience is very thin.
He goes 1 or 2 years, the trophy is gone. No matter what you say.
Because of what Akshat said, that they're not top dogs anymore. They cannot go and spend what Liverpool are spending.
Yeah, but they have their name to leverage. They have their name to leverage.
The expectations are the same. Real Madrid is still Real Madrid. We are still going to go for the top of the top of the top. We are going to want to win Champions Leagues. We're going to want to dominate La Ligas.
They still have
if that does not happen for 2 years, he's gone, bro.
They still have the money to buy one big name signing every year. They still generate that much revenue. They have that much in their coffers. Definitely, for sure. But the thing is, along with that signing, they're going for the future, for the prospects, like you said. And this balance that they're trying to find, which is actually a good thing, because according to me, the Galacticos were more miss than hit. And that was because the team did not have balance. This way, team definitely will have some sort of balance, because only the people who are technically capable or on form will end up on
whatever
playing.
is going to happen, whether Xabi Alonso stays or not, the next manager is also going to be a systems manager. Manager after that is also going to be a systems manager.
I don't know that.
For me, Real Madrid are a club that the manager needs to be a larger than life personality.
Yeah.
Who needs to be bigger, make himself
Bro,
bigger.
did you see Xabi Alonso's retirement post?
Yeah,
You can't have more aura than that, bro.
Aura is different.
No, which is why I'm saying Alonso can make it work. I'm not saying that this thing, but I'm also saying that they're not going to give him extra time
I think
because he's not Xabi Alonso.
We've just seen too little of this to have such a long conversation about. Like, we should come back to this probably at the end of the season.
Hopefully. So, I think this is a good time to end it. Unless you have anything.
I want to say that this episode, the topic for this episode came through a direct request from my younger cousin brother. Shivi, this one's for you. But yeah, I mean, any feedback which you guys have, any topics which you guys want us to talk about, we're more than open to do that. So do reach out to us through Instagram, through YouTube comments, wherever you feel comfortable. And we'll definitely take that into consideration.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.